Hello everyone, welcome back to the Femeni channel, and once again we're here to bring you updates about the action going on live in Australia and New Zealand at the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup. Barcelona players have been in action right from the start of the tournament, and they're still in action because we still have 12 players going into the quarterfinals of the competition. However, the quarterfinals have taken place, they've been played, they were glorious games because the first quarterfinal game saw Spain face the Netherlands, and boy, it was a beautiful, beautiful matchup because Spain, remember, they got into the quarterfinals after defeating Switzerland by 5 goals to 1 in the round of 16, and Netherlands defeated South Africa 2-0 in the round of 16. But when they faced each other in the quarterfinals, it was Spain who edged out to be the winners and qualified for the semi-finals by 2 goals to 1 after extra time. And I mean, it was an interesting game. It was wonderful because Spain came out playing really well. They played wonderfully, and the Netherlands also came up to the game in the second half. But it was Spain who first took the lead via Barcelona player, of course, Mariana Caldente. It was a penalty. And then dramatically, Netherlands equalized. And it was the same player who conceded the penalty that equalized for them in the last minute of regulation time. And then the match went into extra time. And it was in the second half of extra time that our own very player, Sama Parallelo, got the ball in the box, and was a beautiful shot, found the back of the net, 2-1 to Spain, and Spain qualified for the semi-finals, which is the very first time that they'll be qualifying for a World Cup semi-final. It's history for them, and it was a wonderful moment. The second quarterfinal game was between Sweden and Japan. That was another wonderful epic clash because Sweden, remember, they were the ones who knocked out the defending champions USA via penalties, of course. Remember that dramatic VAR moment where the ball crossed the goal line by just about a millimeter? Yeah, that was Sweden. And Japan defeated Norway 3-1 in the round of 16. But when they faced each other in the quarterfinals, it was Sweden who ended up booking a place in the semi-finals of the World Cup because they won Japan 2-1 in 90 minutes. Sweden came playing amazing football, and need I remind you that it was a clash of opposing sides because Sweden has the most clean sheets in the tournament. They're very, very good side defensively, and Japan has the highest goals in the tournament because they're very, very high scoring side. And then they came against each other, and Sweden dominated majority of the game, especially the first half, and they were rewarded for it because they got a goal, and then they came back in the second half and won a penalty, got the second goal, and then Japan turned up the heat. It was so much pressure, but they got their goal late, and because of that they just were unable to capitalize and use whatever time they have left to get an equalizer. It was nuts. It was an incredible game. It was just end to end. The pressure was so much, but eventually Sweden edged out 2-1 winners and booked a place in the semi-finals. The third quarterfinal match was between Australia, who are joint hosts with New Zealand, and France. France won Morocco 4-0 in the round of 16, and Australia won Denmark 2-1 in the round of 16. And when Australia faced France, it was stalemate, a goalless draw, full time, additional 30 minutes of extra time, still goalless, and then they went into penalties, and the hosts won. It was a moment that would not be forgotten by Australian fans all over the world for a very long time because it was so memorable, it was beautiful, it was glorious, and they eliminated France and they made it to the semi-finals, which is the farthest any Australian team has gone in the World Cup, both male and female. So they also made history, and it was beautiful. The fourth quarter-final game was between Colombia and England. Remember, Colombia defeated Jamaica 1-0 in the round of 16, and England edged out Nigeria on penalties after playing a goalless draw at the end of extra time. But these two came and faced each other in the quarterfinal, and England won 2-1. Although it was Colombia who scored first with a beautiful goal. It seemed like a cross, but going to the back of the net, it was wonderful. And then a mistake at the back, Lauren Hemp scored back for England, and then in the second half, Alessia Russo took a chance and she scored. And England edged out 2-1 winners. Remember, it was an amazing game of football, and England made their way through to the World Cup semi-finals. Now, with all semi-finalists confirmed, semi-final matchups are going to be insane because we have Spain versus Sweden in the first game, and the second game will feature Australia, who are joint hosts and just knocked out France. They'll be facing England, who are the current European champions. Now, in Spain versus Sweden's game, we have 10 Barcelona players in both teams, 9 Barcelona players in Spain, 1 in Sweden, because in Sweden we have our favorite left back, Fridolin Orofo, but in Spain we have Alexia Putellas, Aitana Bonmati, Irene Paredes, Laia Codina, Katakoi, Onabachi, Mariona Caldente, Sama Paraguelo, and Maria Perez. Now, all 10 of these players are going to be facing one another. I mean, it's cruel because they're teammates at club level, but on the international stage, they wear different jerseys, so they have to play against each other. And it's heartbreaking, really, because, I mean, I wish they were all on the same team, like in the club, and they could just go together to the finals and win the World Cup. But we're gonna have to wait and find out what happens, because it's gonna be another epic clash. It's quite promising, believe me. And I'm telling you right now, because Spain is also a high scoring side. They are the next after Japan, and defensively Sweden are like the best in the tournament. They have the most clean sheets, and they're amazing at the back. The game between Australia and England also is going to be quite interesting, because the Aussies are going to be looking to, do more, push further. They have the momentum on this side. They just defeated France. They just made record, got into their first World Cup semi-final. And who's to say they can't get to the final? All they have to do is knock out England. So they're there, they're ready, and they just might. However, England are current European champions, and they are also semi-finalists. So it's going to be a crazy game. But we have 2 Barcelona players in England, Kira Walsh and Lucy Bronze, and obviously we wish them all the best. But with the way things stand at the semi-finals of the World Cup, there's something that's for sure. There is a guarantee. At the very least, there would be one Barcelona Femeni player in the World Cup final. Might be more, but at least there's going to be one. As a matter of fact, there is a big chance, very huge probability, that a Barcelona Femeni player, or more than one Barcelona Femeni player, would be a World Cup winner. Yeah, that would be a wonderful scene to see, when they announce this World Cup winner or winners back at their Estadio and cry off when the season begins and they all return to their club. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be beautiful. And that's it in this episode. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the video, click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to get updates for anytime we release a new video. We love you. See you again in another episode. And until then, Vizca El Barça.